so happy to be talking to you because your voice is so familiar from all I've listened to on YouTube, and well, I'm listening for your meditations. I don't know, since I discovered you some months ago, I've been listening to them almost every day, you know. And your voice, I'm super excited now to be here with you.
I'm honored. Thank you so much for having me on. It means a lot. I appreciate it immensely. It's wonderful to know that you're listened to worldwide and that people all over the world. So I don't know what to say. I'm just very, very thankful and honored. It's nice to meet you.
Mă ajut cu prompterul, Alina, da?
Da, te urmăresc.
Hai, bine. Hello, Brian. I am so excited to be in live connection with you. I discovered your program, Reality Revolution, some months ago. And exactly how I said to you when I first wrote to you on Instagram, I was really wowed because I just listened to your meditations, large sums of money, and some unexpected projects just popped up in that same day. You know, it was really wow for me because you are in my ears with that meditation, and my phone was ringing for the same thing. And I said, okay, it can be a coincidence. But when the second phone came, I said, okay, hello, Brian, nice to meet you. This will be a long friendship. Okay, so before starting to talk about Reality Revolution, I want to tell you that with this show that I'm making on the Romanian national TV, I Can, Eu Pot in Romanian, I discovered that this virus that forced this year's lockdown made a lot of people read more, listen to conferences, go to courses, and it made people to look more inside, you know, and to be more open to anything that could make them grow. How was this year for you, and how was this year in America? Did the lockdown made the same thing for your clients? Was this crisis an opportunity for the world to change?
Absolutely. I really do think we've gone through a tremendous transformation in the world. It forced everybody to take a step back, to take a deep breath. They didn't have somewhere to go. They had to sit at home and actually ponder their thoughts and their life and how they had come to the place that they were. And I personally, in my own business and life, have met so many people that just because of that little break that we all took for that little moment of time, the world is trying to get back to normal right now, but everybody had a moment to really go within and really see and learn about themselves. And we're starting to see the fruition of that. People have changed the way they think, and their world is changing, and they're starting to see the effects of this incredible transformation. And I believe it's been a net benefit. Although it's been tragic for many people, I do think that it has changed the world in a positive way. And I think we're going to still see more of that in the future here as we go.
Okay, it's great to hear that because I was assuming that only around me people more enlightened were coming. So it's a worldwide thing. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, the affirmation technique.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because this is how I discovered you.
Right.
And please tell me how it works and why it works for some people and why it doesn't work for other people.
Starting with the idea that our thoughts create reality, which is for some people a hard concept to really understand. We are thinking all the time, millions of thoughts a day, and these thoughts over time start to shape and craft the reality we're in. Some of it is not woo-woo or spiritual. Some of it is, if I think that food is bad, I won't eat it. If I think I can't go to so we're constantly conditioning our reality by our thoughts. And it just so happens if you change your thoughts, you can change your reality. But for some people, this is very difficult. Affirmations are a way to control the way you think or create new thoughts. Now, it doesn't necessarily work for everybody, but if you can change the way you think and create a powerful thought, then you start in, as you saw in your case, and many, many other people, they start to see the reality around them change.
I am a believer, you know,
Right.
because
Some
I'm
people aren't.
exactly, this
Right.
is what I'm talking about.
So what happens is a lot of times with affirmations, uh, because of the way the human mind works, I will say, I feel healthy, but then the human mind will consider the opposite. They'll feel like they'll remember when they were sick, or I feel rich, and they'll think about being poor. So there's a process in doing affirmations. If you feel it and believe in it, as you just said, and start to really grasp it as a concept and something that's real in the moment now, that's when I see people making changes. So affirmation is just like playing basketball or playing some sport or doing some hobby or skill. It's a process that you learn. But once you start to do it and you learn this process of creating an affirmation that would be powerful in your life, stating it on a regular basis with feeling, understanding that you always think of opposites, but if you understand and embrace this powerful concept and start to see it, then it starts to work. So in your particular case, the affirmation that so many people have found to be incredibly powerful in regards to money is large sums of money come to me easily and quickly. For a lot of people, money can be difficult and hard, and it doesn't come to you quickly. So that concept is, hey, money can come to me easily and quickly. Large sums can come to me.
Because we are learning since we are kids that
Yes.
money are hard to get. You have to work
Right.
hard. This
So
hard part.
so we've had these affirmations our whole life where we've said money is hard, work is hard. So it's at the beginning, it might be, hey, there's a part of you that says that doesn't true, but the more you repetitively do it, you start to really change your belief. And also that it's on a continuing basis. Some people get money one time and then it goes away. So then it's in a continuing basis and in increasing quantities. Then you start to imagine that your money is increasing on a continuous basis in the best interest of all. Some people think I can only make money if I go rob the bank or if I break the law or something. And then to affirm that I get to keep it means I don't have a bunch of debts or things like that. So that particular affirmation is a state that I'm going into, a state of mind that I imagine. And then as I imagine, I then start, as you may have noticed, you start to look for things in your environment that affirm this belief or state that you're in. I start to have people call me. I start to think, well, that could be a business opportunity. It's not just somebody calling me. And I start to see proof of it. And as it happens, our beliefs seem to attach more and more, and it does create a reality. And for anybody as yourself, I would just say, don't believe what I'm saying. Just try it out. And there's nothing that you can lose. If you want to change your thoughts, and one incredible way to do that is through the process of affirmation, as you and millions of other people have found, if done properly, because I do think affirmations can be dangerous because people have a tendency to think of the opposite. So if they're thinking in the right way, it can change their life, and so many wonderful miracles can happen from it.
Can you explain to our viewers what does this done properly means?
Right. So if I think about I am rich, I say those words, I am rich, I am prosperous, but the whole time in my mind, I'm thinking about how poor I am, how I don't have enough money. Then what happens is I am thinking about the other thought. And the thought is what creates reality, not the words. The words are a reminder and a way of going deep into the subconscious. A lot of times, our subconscious mind holds beliefs, as my mom used to teach me. Money is filthy lucre. Money doesn't grow on trees. Money is the source of all evil.
I also.
Right.
In Romania, we are saying like that.
Right.
Money.
And so when I say that, and my mom says that, think about it. We've been saying that for decades. And right now, we're trying to change those beliefs. And so if you do it wrong, you're just going to start remembering and thinking about all those things your mom taught you, and then you're going to still continue to see it. But if you do it right and you feel this new idea, this new thought, as you do it, eventually your subconscious will say, you know what? Maybe you're right. And you break down those deep beliefs that you have, and then you start to see in the outside world how it changes. That's kind of what I meant by that.
Can you tell me which are these reality creation techniques more exactly? How can one declutter his mind, you know?
Right.
Because I have these, because mom, for example, or our family is seen like a god. since we are kids.
Yeah.
So everything they are telling us, we really believe, and it's in our blood, in our being.
Right.
And how can we declutter our mind, and how can we get rid of this stuff to be able to make this shifted reality, to make this reality creation change?
That is a absolutely great question. I think that that is the most important process. The word you use is declutter. We are cluttered in our mind with all these crazy beliefs. And so everybody's a little bit different. Everybody has a subconscious mind that's been created over time. We have a conscious mind when we're aware now, and a super conscious mind. The subconscious mind, it believes what we tell it to believe. And so one of the key fundamental aspects of changing the subconscious mind is feeling. When we have a feeling, a powerful feeling, those are things we remember. If you go back and look at things in your life that you remember that really changed you, it was something with a powerful feeling. So if you attach a powerful feeling to what you're affirming, and through repetition, by the process of repetition, over time, the subconscious will say, no, that's not true. Well, maybe it's true. And after, that's why I have the meditation 40 times. And a lot of times what I do is a technique where I will have the affirmation said in one ear and then also in another. And so what happens, you focus on one side and the other just slips down into the subconscious and changes it. That's one aspect. Some people have used hypnosis, but the primary thing to declutter your mind is understand that your attention, what you place your attention on, is what fills your subconscious mind. And over time, if you place your attention on positive, uplifting things that you want to incorporate and have as a part of your life, all that stuff will slowly go away. If we make it our intention that we want to embrace truth, and over time, we slowly understand the concepts that we were taught as children are incorrect or wrong, we start to declutter those thoughts. But it is an ongoing process. And some of these beliefs are so deeply held that it is hard, and everybody's a little bit different. And so there's a process of experimentation, and it can take a little bit of time, but it is worth the time that you spend. Just like going to the gym. If you lift weights one time, it might not work. But if you set up a routine and you work out once or twice or 3 times a week, then you start to see results. And it's the same way with our beliefs and decluttering our beliefs. It's also just like we declutter our body. We cleanse our body. We choose what we eat. And if we eat things that will detoxify our body, we're eating our thoughts. So when we choose thoughts, those thoughts will help to detoxify our body as well. It's not difficult. It can take time, but it is a very powerful process.
And this is what the non-believers should understand, that this is a self-work. If
Yes.
you don't work, you can have it.
Right.
This is the conclusion. Because this meditation cannot work if you are doing it once. You are just listening to something.
Right.
And this is it. You have to work every day and
Right.
every day. True?
Some people like you, it does work after 1 or 2 times. That's the amazing thing. Some people it doesn't, but I agree with you. It does take time and work as you spend time and you become aware what I'm watching on TV, what I have in my house, the pictures I have in my house, the people I am with are constantly affirming my thoughts just as much as that 40-minute, 30-minute meditation does. So as we do that, we start to fill up our mind with new thoughts and ideas, and then we see those ideas expressed in the world around us, which is an amazingly exciting thing. It means we have control over our lives, and we can live these amazingly fantastic lives by doing these little changes. A lot of people think it's impossible and they can't do it, and then they live in that reality where it's impossible. But if we can change that belief, I'm just telling you, try it. You can change the outside world around you.
Being with you tonight, making this interview for me is a reality revolution, because I was thinking of meeting you somehow. I didn't know how, because I'm living in Romania. I also told you before that I checked even on Google not to make a mistake on the date and hour that we had this meeting, you know. So, but this happened, and I'm happy, and I'm telling to the non-believers that miracles can happen if you can believe them, but really believe them.
Very much. It's one of the biggest things that people struggle with, that all things are possible to he that believes, as it says in the Bible. And there's a lot of people that just simply believe it's impossible. I can't drive that car. I can't live in that house. I can't have that job. I can't have that incredibly loving relationship. And so that's kind of a filter that they use when we say these affirmations. If you embrace this amazing idea, not just for money, but for anything in your life, if you want to meet somebody, then that's I've had the same thing. I've met heroes of mine, and I just imagined, hey, I want to meet this person, and I imagine and some weird thing works out. Next thing you know, we're talking to each other. It is so amazing. And I want the world to wake up to this, because if the whole world woke up to this amazingly simple fact that our ideas and thoughts create reality and nothing is impossible, then we can change the world. And if you, as you know, in Romania and all over the news, all we see on TV and in books and news, it's fear. It's fear that we're constantly being given affirmations of fear. And so once you understand this incredible power, then you understand that you need to put yourself on a diet. So you bring in positive information and change the way you look at the world. And then the world reflects back what you're thinking. And so that's my biggest thing. I see so many people struggling because they're swimming in fears and in thoughts and thought currents that are all around them without controlling or affirming what they truly want in the world.
Are you ever watching the news constantly?
It's a great question. I live in the United States. So yeah, I live in the United States. The United States is all about a presidential election right now, and we have natural disasters and fires. We have to watch the news. I think one mistake a lot of people make is they ignore the news, and then they get their news from crazy sources. So I embrace understanding the news and truth, but I don't watch it all the time. If you check out my channel, there's a concept I talk about called reality transurfing, and it's an idea that there's these pendulums. Pendulums are when multiple people are thinking thoughts at the same time, and they're like these energetic structures that form. Not to make it too complicated, but a lot of what we see on the news are these pendulums, and you give your energy by opposing it or by supporting it. So there's an understanding of what you give your energy to. So I want to understand the world around me so that I can survive, I can get the right stocks and that kind of thing. But I'm not sitting and watching the news all the time. I take in the news as best I can and limit the amount of news that I watch, but I try to get the truth, and so that I'm living in a world that I understand that's truthful, but continue to understand that I'm a neutral observer from it. I don't involve myself and let the fears take over, if that makes sense.
Or debates or stuff like that.
Right, yeah.
Okay. What is your most powerful meditation in your opinion? And also as feedback from people that are trying that specific meditation. Is there any meditation in any field of life that you love most or that you trust more?
It's a great question. And really, there's no way for me to properly answer it because my meditations have certain intentions. The one that you mentioned, for people that are struggling with money, the large sums of money meditation is incredibly powerful as an affirmation. But I have over 120 meditations on my channel, and I've designed them for everything from energy to finding the love of your life to improving your health. A lot of them are sleep meditations. So the way I've designed it, they're all designed for somebody in particular. Everybody has their own thing they're going through. And so it depends on if you're looking for enlightenment, if you're looking for something in particular, those meditations are designed for you. Me personally, I have like several. I can't pick, it's like choosing one of my kids.
A favorite child, yeah.
Right. It's like...
I imagine it was hard, but you have to have one favorite.
Right.
You have to.
I do. I have a meditation called quantum jumping into vibrational timelines in the new earth. And the way that it's goes about an hour, but the way that that's designed is through a breathing technique. You become centered and focused using our understanding of the many worlds theory. It allows you to quantum jump into a parallel reality which is crafted in the way that you think. and I guide you along. And so what we do is we guide you along into a reality where you're incredibly prosperous, a reality where you find the greatest love of your life, a reality where you're super healthy. And then we combine all these together into this one reality that we imagine and think about using these breathing techniques. And so everybody that I've talked to that has done this has walked away substantially changed in the same way that the affirmation, it goes beyond the affirmation, and if done properly, it will change all of the parts of your life, not just that one thing that you're thinking about. It can, you wake up and you're in another world. If you read my book, The Reality Revolution, The Mind-Blowing Movement to Hack Reality, I talk about using these techniques, and I experienced what I felt like I was in another reality. There were a major shift where objects had disappeared, and things in the news were different. And I believe those kind of things happen. And that was my journey when I wrote that book. And I believe if you really want a big, massive change, it's possible. And what happens, you get jumped into a whole reality where everything that you want exists. I believe that's what happened to me. And I'm trying to create processes to use that technique, which sounds crazy. I talk about the physics behind it in my book as well. But that's the one for me that has been really transformative.
Going to your life experience, I know that there was a moment in your life that made that click, that made the change. It was, if you can tell us about it, because I've listened to your podcast, and I know that story, but let's share it with our friends. And also I wanted to ask you, starting from this point, does a major change or a big personal earthquake has to happen in our lives to wake up?
Right. So I don't believe that you have to have a big major change, but I have seen it on a regular basis. So, but we can have big major changes, and that's what I've tried to focus on. I see a lot of people, they can do it subtly over time, and sometimes that's better. But in my case, I had a huge, massive, big change. I started as I went through meditation, and it changed everything for me. I was able to find success in my business, find love, my health improved. I overcame major, major problems in my life. And then after I had done that, what you were mentioning, I was at home and I had a home invasion, and some people came into my house, and they shot at me, and the bullet bounced off my back. And so I was incredibly lucky. I felt like I was guided through the process. I felt like I had been warned beforehand. I felt like I was with myself. And afterwards, the way I looked at the world changed. I realized I needed to justify the second chance I had been given. And so I took all these things I had learned over a period of time and started teaching them to other people, because it felt kind of selfish for me to hold these things that had changed my life. It became my overdriving force. And one of the big secrets to big transformational changes is when you escape from yourself a little bit, and it goes about beyond just what you want in your life. Hey, I'd love to have a great new salary and things like that. I started to think about how I could help other people as much as possible. And that is when I saw the big transformational change. When I took myself out of the equation and started really, how can I help as many people as possible? That was the big transformation that happened for me. That was the thing when it wasn't about me anymore. I started to imagine and affirm for the world and for people that were important to me.
But does a person have to have this kind of a shock to wake up? This is what I'm asking.
It's a great question.
Can you go to bed with your fears, anxiety, and so on, and wake up one morning enlightened?
That's my goal. I don't want, you shouldn't have to get shot at to change your life. And I wanted to encapsulate my change that I had gone through and introduce it to people, so you don't have to get shot at or have some crazy event happen, which is oftentimes when you see people going through transformations. And I believe that's what I've tried to do. I believe that we don't have to go through a crazy change. Oftentimes that's what works. But if you hear me out, just when you just perceive the beauty of being alive in this moment. That's what I felt after this. And a lot of people can have that feeling, that gratitude for being alive, that drive, that overwhelming desire to help others and see the world differently. You can get that without going through a big transformation. And that was what I was trying to do. That's what I'm trying to do with my meditation. I'm trying to eliminate that part so that you can just wake up tomorrow and have the same feeling of awe and wonder about the world and start to see the reality change. It would be really tragic if everybody had to go through some crazy event to change their world. And that's what I've tried to do. And I don't think you need to do it. It can be helpful, but it's definitely not necessary or important. And if you listen to my meditations, I'm trying to evoke that feeling without all the bad stuff happening for the transformation to occur.
Yeah, this is why we are here today, because people have to hear about this stuff. Because,
Right.
For example, in my show, people are coming after they got divorced and they are suffering, after going bankrupt, after a death, after losing a child, after losing a parent, something that shakes their grounds.
Right.
And in Romania, there is still this mentality that you are going to search for psychological help, for a mentor, for therapy in general,
Right.
only if you are crazy,
Right.
And this is why I wanted this answer from you, that you don't need to go through something bad to make your life better. Because if we are going to that spark that there is in every person, maybe we don't know that we have that spark.
Right.
How can a person that has both ears deaf, for example, how can one person that doesn't know anything about this stuff unleash their potential? Is there a starting point?
It's a great point. And everybody has a different starting point. The most important thing that people need to understand, embrace, that people do not believe, as you probably are aware, is this belief that the world is random and chaotic and we don't have control over it. If you can believe one thing and really see it, that your thoughts create reality, that thoughts are things. If we can understand this one thing, then once you realize, wow, my thought by itself changed reality, then everything changes. Now, as to what you were just saying, I've had, a lot of people need to go and worry they have to go to a psychologist. And one of the things that I've found as I've done research for this is, if you go back and look at your life, you probably agree with me, any major thing that happened, like a divorce or bankruptcy or whatever crazy thing, they were all for the good. They all ended up being a real benefit to you.
I am that person.
Right.
At some point in my life as I knew it up to that moment stopped, and that was the best moment of my life.
Right.
Crazy what I'm saying. And people around me thought at that point, when, my close friends, when saw things happening around me, they said, oh my God, what will happen to her in this moment?
Right.
And I started to be happy that moment.
Right.
And I started to discover enlightened people, because I was reading, but when you are a very busy person, you are focusing on what you are doing daily and on what you are used to do until that moment. But starting that moment, I started to discover enlightened persons, as you, for example, and I have a bunch of people that used to live with me in the house, because I was continuously listening and improving my thoughts and my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And starting that point that could have been the end of life, it was my rebirth. It was the point that I was born again. This is why
Awesome.
I was asking about if it has to happen something bad
Right.
to start a better life, a greater
Right.
life.
Well, let's look at this. A lot of times it's not the thing that happens. It's not the bankruptcy, or you're driving along and you have a flat tire. It's your reaction. If our thoughts are powerful, if I have a flat tire and I got a flat tire, and maybe that flat tire prevented you from having an accident down the road. And I started immediately programming my mind, just like the large sums of money. And I have another meditation for this. Everything is working to my advantage. So if something bad happens to us, I immediately have gotten to the point where I say everything's working to my advantage. I may not know what benefit this is, but now my mind is constantly is creating advantages for me. So if something bad happens to me, I'm excited now. I'm thinking this either saved my life or this means something great is about to happen. And this mindset has slowly changed so that I'm not worried about anything happening. If I have a bankruptcy tomorrow that's for some reason happened, then I would know that it was for the best and it's working to my advantage. Because there's some portion of us that knows our possible futures and can guide us into an amazing future. So amazing, but we may have bad things happen along the way that take us to where we want to go. And so it's not the event that happens, it's our reaction to it, because our thoughts create reality.
Brian, you are a very enlightened person, okay? And you, as other enlightened persons, say that everything is possible and that we are the creators of our own reality.
Yes.
Somehow I checked it from small parts of my life and I was wowed as I was telling you. Our own lives, we are creating with our thoughts. Do you have any advice for the non-believers, those people that really don't want or cannot or weren't made in the position of opening, of shifting their minds? Is there any advice that you have for them?
I don't know if it would necessarily be advice. I would ask you to look around your room that you're in as you're listening to this interview. And do you not see all your thoughts around you? Do you not see if you cannot just see just around you right now, all of your thoughts, then if you can't, then go along. But if you can, if you notice that all around you is the thoughts that you've had over your life, then if that's true, imagine if you changed your thoughts. Just try it. Nobody here is telling you that this is some religion or anything. I'm saying try it, experiment with it, prove it yourself. I'm not saying that you need to have any faith. Eventually faith will come to you as you try these techniques. This is something that can be tested, and test these ideas. You don't need to believe. You don't need to believe, but if you by just your thought alone can become a millionaire, can change the world, can find amazing love, can improve that health problem that you have, what do you have to lose? What do you have to lose? Don't believe. Just try it out. Give it a chance. And if you want proof, you can find it from tons of authors, from multiple places. And I guarantee you can find it from your friends and family and the people around you. That's what I would say to those people. Give it a chance, test it out. That's all I'm asking you to do.
Is that true that the moment you start your change, if we are talking about energies and vibrations,
right?
If you are changing, you become a better person, your thoughts are changing, it is possible that you might lose relationships that were people that were in your life for 20 years or more, Is that possible that you might lose, I don't know, a husband or a wife or even very close friends for this cause?
I have seen it happen. And in all cases, it ends up being to that person's advantage. You have free will and you have a choice. You should live the life that you want to live. Treasure every second of it. So we also ultimately become like the people that we're with. We have a group of people around us and we end up thinking their thoughts and being on the same level as they are. A lot of times when we go through this transition and realize the power of our thoughts, and then we see the people around us, perhaps it's a husband or wife, perhaps it's some friend, they're being so incredibly negative, and we may still love them because love is the key to this. Love is always the key to this. But if you want to choose the reality that you want for your life, then I choose to be around people that develop. If I have people that are constantly telling me that's impossible, it will never happen, that are incredibly negative all the time, they're affirming to me. So there is a point in time where you realize the importance of the people and things around you. And so it can result in a relationships changing, but it always ends up working to my advantage because I end up in even better relationships and having even better friends, and it works out for them too. along the way. We do go through these changes, and it can be scary. And our reaction to what's happening can take us right back to where we started. But if we understand that something bigger is happening, a lot of times that stuff is working to our advantage. That's the best thing that I can explain. Yeah.
Why is change so scary to people?
Well, it's a great question. It's so much easier to deal with what we know than what we don't know. The unknown and the mysterious in the world is scary. We want to wake up and we want to know exactly what's going on. And in that desire for knowing, oftentimes we limit ourselves to what we can have. If we're openly embrace that what my thoughts create reality, and I'm going to create this reality, there's going to be an unknown bridge of incidents between where I'm at now to where I want to be. And there's a mystery in that. And if I embrace it, then I will move much faster towards what I want to achieve, live, or experience. But if I don't, if I push it away, then I'm just going to stay where I've been all the time. If you're happy with that, that's fine. But if you're in an environment, a situation where you're not happy, and you've tried everything and you don't know what to do, and you're depressed and you're struggling, what do you have to lose? There may be some mystery in a change that you have, but if you're open and embrace the change, understand that you are choosing your reality, that it will lead you to the place that you want to be. And in that little process in between, there can be mystery, and we've all experienced it all our lives. It's nice to know what's going to happen in the day, and that's understandable. But if you openly embrace this idea of change, openly embrace the idea of something unknown happening, those unknown things are going to bring you the large sums of money that you're looking for, that wonderful relationship. And so it's a process, and that's one of the processes that's involved. Change is scary, but change is the world and the universe. If you look at any atom or object anywhere, it's constantly changing. There is no such thing as something remaining in a static state. On the fundamental level, elements, and even on a large level, the sun itself and the moons and the galaxies are constantly changing, exploding, and moving into something new. That is the way the universe was created. Embrace it, and you will see incredible things happen.
It is funny to say, but the only constant thing is change.
It's true. Very true.
What scares you?
What scares me?
What are your fears?
It's really, I'm a little bit different. I've been working with hypnosis and myself for a long time, and I don't have a lot of fears. I am afraid for my kids. I want them to be okay. I'm afraid for my wife. I want, when she's right now she's driving somewhere, so I want her to be okay. But I do not embrace those fears anymore, because I know the power of my thoughts. While it's wonderful to create my reality, it's a wonderful thing. It's also it can also work against me. There is a dark side to us creating a reality, because we see our fears become real. And so, hey, it's fun and it's exciting, but it's also very important that if, when I have these fears, that I don't embrace them. And I think we have a choice as we go along between fear or love, between everything. If it's a political choice, if it's an economic choice. And so if I have those fears about my wife and my kids, I choose love. I choose love in that moment. I choose love. And as I do that, my fears are allayed and they're protected. I send love. So yes, we all have fears. It's part of our brain. We have a survival mechanism that's built in. But as I understand this, it's changed. It's made me feel better, because if I have that fear come up, I immediately change it to, I'm going to send out love. I'm going to choose love in this moment instead of fear. And the more I do it, the less I fear for everything.
What is love?
Well, love is everything. When we look at the sun and the planets going around the sun, that is love. When we look at two electrons attracted to each other, it's love. Love is the universe. Love, God is love. On an unconditional level, love is everything. It is the thing that creates life. It is the thing that changes and fixes life. It's a very difficult question, because when people talk about love, the first thing that they talk about is romantic love.
Romance.
And romantic love is an amazing creation of God. It's a wonderful thing. It's made my life so much better. And that is a part of it. It is an example of love. But we are given lessons of love throughout this life on this planet. When we have kids, when we get married, with our family. And a lot of times it's lessons of unconditional love, attraction, hope, caring more about someone else, caring about somebody else outside of yourself. There's thousands of definitions of love, but my own understanding as I've done this is if I add love, which when I say the word love to you, you will know what I mean. Almost everybody knows what I mean. If I say, do you feel the love in your body? You know where it's at. And if I say, add love to that thought, if you add love to the thought of large sums of money, that's when it works. Love is the magic sauce that makes reality. You can have random thoughts and they're probably not going to do anything. But if you add love to that thought, whatever you love, you bring into your life. And I think that we're living, this life is a lesson in love for everything. We're learning how to love. The hardest thing is learning how to love people that we utterly hate, and embracing this idea that I can love everybody, even the worst of us. And when I do, they're not the worst of us anymore. When I love people that have been my enemies, they're not my enemies anymore. And when I love a situation or problem, love is the solution. And I just ask for anybody that's struggling with anything, ask yourself how love is involved. And if you start adding love to it, then everything changes. All we need is love, as the Beatles say. It is really a true thing. And it is a fundamental part of this process that I talk about on my podcast. But still, I don't know if I did a very good job of defining love. We can certainly look at the dictionary definition of love.
Can anyone define love?
I don't think that they necessarily
I
can.
was asking you also this question,
Yeah.
because everybody has a different vision on love.
Right.
And I wanted to tell you one thing about creating and about the power of our thoughts. The other week, for example, because I'm in this process and I'm very involved in creating stuff around me with meditation and with my thoughts. I was talking to a friend and I was tired, and I said this little lie, and I said, I cannot see you tonight as I promised, because I have a lot of work to do. I hang the phone and I said, okay, I'm going home. I will go to sleep and everything. Immediately, 2 minutes after, my phone is ringing and my boss is saying, look, you have to check up and to do this. It was a 2-hour work. Okay. And I said, well done. You created this. You created a working night. And I said, okay, I will not do this anymore because I'm there and I'm happy to be there.
Well, it sounds to me like you have been honored with seeing your thoughts take shape very quickly. And a lot of people, and that's why I have the reality revolution. My idea is that it feels like that we're going through a dynamic on this planet where our thoughts are becoming reality faster. Maybe when we had thought about something in the 90s, I try to discuss why this is happening. Perhaps we're getting more light. I think light is involved, but the whole entire planet is creating reality all the time. And that's why we see crazy stuff happening in politics in the world, because our fears are being created and we don't even know it. And so what you're experiencing is an example of that you might say to a friend, I'm very busy tonight, which I've done. And I've had the same thing happen. Next thing you know, I got a bunch of work to do.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Okay. Our time is about to finish.
Okay.
Do you have an advice for me? For example, I asked for an advice from you to those who don't believe. I believe, and I want to be a better believer. Do you have any advice for me?
I don't know if it's necessarily to be a better believer, but there's a lot of people out there that probably don't believe what we're talking about, that are struggling, that are depressed, they've lost hope, and they see what's happening in the world and they think it's all random and none of it's worth it. And I'm saying, just give it a minute, give it a chance, that if you let go of those thoughts, if you embrace this idea temporarily, just for a couple of days, that you can have a control over your reality, then everything can change. Anything is possible for you. If you're struggling right now, if you're struggling with alcohol or drugs or have a relationship that's falling apart or you're sick, don't give up. Right now, in this moment, you can change everything. All those things that you dreamed about when you were a kid, all those dreams that you have, they are possible and achievable. It's not impossible for you. It's not only allowed for that small 1% out there. You can have whatever you want. And all you have to do is just temporarily embrace this idea that your thoughts create reality, and you'll start to see it, and anything is possible. So don't give up hope. Don't embrace that depression, because you're just going to see more of it. The world is a reflection of what you're thinking. When you look in the mirror and you smile, you see a smile. And so if you're sitting in hopelessness and despair, you're going to see hopelessness and despair. So embrace this idea temporarily, and you will see proof of it. That's just, don't give up hope. There's a lot of people out there, and I want them to know that there's no reason to give up hope. There's so much incredible things in our future. We can change the world with this power. We can change global warming. We can change all of the major problems we see in the world. Anything is possible. And I mean anything. And we can do this together as a group. We can come together as a world with our unified thoughts, and we can change the universe.
Brian Scott, I'm so honored to be talking to you tonight. Please, let's end this transmission with that welcome to Reality Revolution. Please tell it for me.
Welcome to the Reality Revolution.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Mai ziceți, mai vreau de la el încă o dată, welcome to.
My colleague wasn't on your face without transmission, because I was telling you that we are making with more cameras. And please say it again. Welcome to.
You want me to say it into the microphone louder?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Welcome to the Reality Revolution.
Oh my God. Thank you so much. Okay.
I am so excited. This was so much fun. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it. I really do. You made my day. Thank you.
Thank you.
I will visit Romania soon. All right. So.
Okay, I'm here. I will give you a full tour.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Everything you want to see and everything you don't want to see.
Oh, good. Wonderful. Thank you. And I wish everybody the best. And, anytime, let me know and we can talk more. All right.
Yes. Thank you very,
Thank
very
you so
much.
much.
Bye. Have a great day.
You too. Well, welcome to the Reality Revolution. I'm just really excited today because this is the first day that my book is released. This is it, the Reality Revolution. Worked on this for a very long time. So many of the things that I discovered along the way, and I was excited to share it with everybody. Tell you a little bit about it. I'm like everybody else. I'm interacting in the world and starting to realize that my thoughts created reality. As I did this, I started to see some major shifts in my reality. I started to explore the idea of maneuvering through parallel realities. I'm your host, Brian Scott.